And this conversation, by the way, includes what Fiona put on the table, which is I have a bunch of people who are interested in listing their properties. However, they're not exactly sure exactly where they're going to go. And so they're holding back because they don't know what they're going to do. And so how are you addressing those issues with your potentials?
I just had that happen with one of mine, and I basically just told them, you're in the power seat right now, that you get to decide the terms of the offer typically. If you need a lease back, we can do that. If we need a delayed closing, we can do that until you find the property. But you're also not going to want to start looking until you have it on the market and know what you're going to be getting. I don't think this is really a unique situation to right now, because I think it's always been in people's minds, but now they're having a harder time getting over it.
Yeah, and so it could be as easy as helping them understand that this time is not like it's not different than any other time, right? There may be a longer look process for you, and yet without having your home on the market, which you control the timing of, I think that's the most important part of what Dan just said. Once your home's on the market, you control the timing, including having a conversation that says, you know what, we're putting the house on the market in January, and we're looking for a June closing or sooner if we find housing. There are people out there who could very well meet that requirement of a June closing and sooner if they find housing. So giving them the power, or reminding them they have the power to take care of that. What else?
I was actually in the office over the weekend speaking with an agent, and she had clients who had multiple offers on their home. The house they wanted to buy, they're making an offer, but the house is not available until July. To go back to Dan and Rick's conversation, the sellers that in this market are in the driver's seat completely. What I've looked at and focused on in my sphere are those seasoned individuals who are now looking more seriously to Florida and warmer climates, because they're getting tired of the weather. This is a great time to say, if you're tired of the weather, there's warmer temperatures out there. Reminding them also that I have over 187,000 agents who can help them find a home wherever they want to go, because many of them really want to get out of the Northeast, and this is the time. We're at the top of the market, and where they can get the most for their money and spend it someplace else where it goes a lot farther. So I'm looking at downsizers, empty nesters. I'm focusing my messaging to them. And then, also reminding them that, this is the time to do it, and be in their new home, warmer temperatures by May.
Nice. Debbie, what do you got?
I think this is prime time to use lots of motivational questions and really dig down to find what the actual motivation of the seller is, because that's going to affect whether this is going to work or not. It will affect how much they're going to be willing to put up with or what they're willing to accept. And oh goodness, that just flew out of my head.
Do you have someone locked in a box in your home?
Yeah, this is very inconvenient day. We have construction going on at the house today. It's lovely. Oh, it's the magic wand statement. So I use the magic wand statement all the time in this situation, because it allows people to say, well, that would work and that wouldn't work. And this is my real ideal. And the important thing is to really dig down and not just get what they think is convenient and they like on the surface, but what they would accept and what would work for them. And then work together with them to make that work out. I'll tell you, what I'm finding is that buyers are actually reaching out to old expired sellers right now, buyers themselves. And if we're not going back to our old expired sellers, we're missing an opportunity.
Yeah, that's a good point. Your own expired should be on your call list this week if they haven't been already. And I think your old expireds from the last 5 years should get a phone call from you.
Or more. We sold a 2012 expired last year. So, I mean, you go way back.
Love it, love it, love it. Yeah, and so just in case anyone is squeamish or shy about calling your own old expireds, I'm here to tell you, climb over that, because that's a really, if you have those people, they already know you, they already have the relationship. It almost doesn't matter how it ended. Because if it ended poorly 12 years ago, you're the only one who remembers that. Right? They're not holding the grudge, especially if you call them and say, hey, I have folks who are lining up to overpay for houses right now. You couldn't get what you wanted last time. I think you can get more than what you want or do this time. Right? Diane, what do you got?
I'm going to send letters to sellers. I have a client that's looking very specifically for waterfront or water view, and I'm going to be calling the agents in that area to see if they have anything coming up that I can talk to my client about, or send letters to sellers saying basically, I have somebody, so pony up if you want to.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And I can tell you, is Chris on the call? I think he's not on the call today. But Chris DiBiase has been doing that very, very thing, that sending the letters thing, for the past couple of months. And he's getting really excellent response from it. He sends it to a neighborhood of 200 or 300 people, and then he calls behind it, getting a ton of response. And it's very simple. It's just a simple letter, 2 paragraphs. It says, here's who I am. Here's why it's important for you to connect with me about the value of your home. And people are calling. So it's kind of simple. So don't leave out the simple. I love that idea, Diane. And what Diane said is get really targeted, right? If you have buyers who are looking for waterfront, well, now you can be really targeted about houses that are waterfront. Right? Instead of going to 400 in a community, you can just target the 50 that actually have some frontage. It's easier, just by the way, if you're more targeted, it's easier to follow up with a phone call than if you go big, right? If you go neighborhood by neighborhood, sometimes it's either harder for you to actually get through all those phone calls, or because it's a large number, you look at it and say, yeah, I'm not going to bother to do that. But if it's only 30, you look at it and say, oh, you know what? I can get through that in 2 mornings. That's awesome. I'll follow up to my letter and see what we got. And I think Diane put something interesting on the table, and that is, how many of you have a buyer who you cannot, even just one buyer who you can't find a property for? Start your listing search based on that one person. And some of you have 2 or 12. Right, different buyers that are struggling finding inventory. Start your listing search based in the needs you have for your buyers, because that gives you something very specific and targeted to go after. And when you're on the phone with people, you can make statements, in all honesty, saying, I have this particular possibility. I have this particular buyer who's struggling. I'm working for this couple. I'm curious what the opportunity with your property might be. And it gets it real specific. I can tell you that having a buyer and making those phone calls versus not having a buyer and making those phone calls, the results are very different, because you know exactly what you're targeting. And I think it also comes across differently to the person, to the potential seller on the other end of the phone, when you're not making up buyers. When it really is like Tom and Susie Smith, bam, this is what they're looking for, and you might own exactly what they're looking for.
So I've done letters too. I think Jen just posted that she did it. And I'm actually sending the pre-approvals. I'll gray out some information or black out some information and send the pre-approvals with the letter saying, I have this buyer ready to go.
Love it. Yeah, so Dan's working in those particular people into the letters. And I'm just going through the chat here. Raquel, how are you utilizing Facebook with in your search for listings?
Well, I advertise, I pay to advertise in the area, and it's just a simple ad, for people to inquire what their home is worth now. And I got 2 leads from it, and, it automatically sends a home evaluation through Zillow, but then I follow up with an actual real CMA from doing, the research. And it's a warm lead, so it's good. I've had the conversation, and we're kind of trying to see where it goes. So I got a good response from it. So instead of like reaching out to like Spires and stuff, it's just another way to reach out to people.
Yeah, I love the Facebook ad side of that. And what I can encourage you guys to do is make the Facebook ads even more powerful by incorporating, now that we have year-end numbers to work with. If you're pushing out to Wilton, or you're pushing out to Norwalk, well, you know what those numbers are now. You know that the year-over-year numbers, pricing's gone up 10.1%, or pricing's gone up, 12.6%. I would start throwing some of those numbers into your ads if you haven't been doing that, to really capture the eyeballs on that. If people understand exactly what's happened year over year and that they can benefit from that, rather than just making it generic, you might be able to get more for your home, is way different than your neighborhood is up 10.1% year over year. How does that affect your property? Call me today to find out. Right. So get really specific and utilize some of those numbers. If you're not mentioning the massive listings shortage, the inventory shortage in conversations that you're having with your database or your advertising, I think that's another opportunity. Really push that button. Like, we are so short. Supply and demand, baby. When supply is short and demand is high, guess who gets to win? What did Paul Leibowitz say yesterday? Or somebody said it yesterday. Maybe it was Bill. And Paul just posted it in the chat. When something about the golden rule, but oh crap, what was it? Now I can't remember. Karen?
Who has the gold makes the rule.
Yeah, there you go. He who has the gold makes the rules, right? And so if these people own the properties, they're the ones who get to make the rules.
We're even finding psychologically, when we talk to buyers and sellers, that I'll tell them, talk to your realtor about the options out there. You can list your house, and you have options on when to buy, or when you want to actually close on the house. And just hearing that makes them feel so much better that there are other people going through it. I said, remember, your buyers are going to be going through the same thing. And psychologically, it just puts them at ease. So having that conversation really opens it up.
Love it. I'm reading a book right now called Exactly What to Say, which I've decided that what I'm going to do is, by the end of the week, I'm going to push that book title out. And for those oh, look, Len's reading it too. Spectacular. I'm going to push that out and encourage as many of you to grab it and read it. It's a short little book. The chapters are like 4 pages long, and the print is really big. It's like my perfect book. I can read a whole chapter in about 3.5 minutes and feel accomplished, and put it down and think, okay, now I've read another chapter. But here's the point. There's 23 different sets of magic words that this guy talks about. Len, who's the author? I can't remember.
There we go. It's actually a few guys. It's Jones, Smith, and Mackin. Jones, Smith, and Mackin.
There we go. Jones, Smith, and Mackin.
Yeah.
Exactly what to say, right? And so the idea that I had in my head was, we should take each of these sets of magic words after everyone's read it, and just have like 3 separate sessions where we take numbers 1 through 8, then 9 through whatever, and 3 separate sessions and say, okay, let's brainstorm together how we use these magic words inside of our industry. Let's brainstorm how we turn these magic words into actual listing side scripts or buyer side scripts. Because every time, and I'm going to do the same thing with your team leaders, because there's another version of these magic words that work in what they do every day. And so my brain's just been going a mile a minute to say, wow, these magic words, if you really stop and think about how you can use them specifically with sellers or specifically with buyers, they could be magic. Which I guess why they call it magic words. The point being, Fiona asked, set the table before with the conversation around sellers being scared. And there are a couple of sets of those magic words. I wish I had my book with me. A couple of sets of those magic words that are there to help people through that kind of worry. I think one set of magic words is exactly that. Don't worry, right? So are we showing up with the script that says something like, I completely understand your concern. Don't worry. Don't worry. I'm here to help. Don't worry. In my 15 years, in my 21 years of real estate, none of my clients have ever been homeless. Don't worry, right? And so we turn them into some comfort scripts that helps reduce that anxiety, and then start showing them, because another set of those magic words is, what exactly do you know about X, right? And so what they're hearing is no inventory, no inventory, no inventory. And if we lean into a challenging conversation, not confrontational, but a challenging conversation that says, well, talk to me about that. What exactly do you know about the lack of inventory? And really help them understand that what they know is just kind of what they hear. And sometimes they hear it from us, right? We're sitting on this call saying there's no inventory, there's no inventory. Well, what if we started to say something different to our potential sellers? What if instead of there's no inventory, we get to say, now is a perfect opportunity for you to really maximize the dollars in your home. There may be some additional challenges on the other side. Here are the strategies that we use to help sellers overcome those potential issues. And then just walk them through step by step how we're going to find them a property. Wrapped in the idea of, don't worry, you're in control, don't worry. You can set the stage for how you sell your home, don't worry. Debbie.
Same concept. And James Shaw always says the word relax just makes you relax. You start out with relax. We have plenty of options. I love that concept of giving people options because it puts them in the control seat. And you can manage the options. You need to manage the options. They don't have an unlimited number of options. And yet just having options gives them a sense of control and makes them relax.
Yeah, and I love that because another set of magic words, who knew we were going to be talking about this book so much, but another set of those magic words that Debbie just reminded me about, I'm going to screw it up because I'm just pulling it out of my ear, but another set of magic words is, here are your 3 options. And it's a version of, in a scenario, right? If you have a seller who's struggling, well, what is their specific scenario? And what if you got really on purpose about charting out their 3 options, right? So it could look like, Ms. Porter, I absolutely hear and understand your concern. I'm here to say, don't worry, because as I see it, you have 3 separate options. Option number 1 is you could put the property on the market with all of these strategies in place, exert the control that you have in this market, and shop for something new while you're finding your own buyer. And always have the sale of your current home one step ahead of the purchase of your next home. We can work with your attorney to make that happen. Option number 2 is to wait out the market. Understand that as the market changes and gives you more, perhaps the perception of more opportunity of where to purchase, that also may decrease the demand for your home. And option number 3, you could just choose to stay. And by choosing to stay, you're just saying no to a crest in the marketplace. No good, bad, or indifferent, but those, of those 3 options, which do you think is the best for you? Which do you think is the best for your bottom line? Again, that wasn't brilliant, but you see my point, right? You can take somebody's specific scenario and chart out their best 3 options and then give them the power, because the power in those words is exactly that. You're arming them with a decision. They're stuck. And so by you charting the course of saying you have these 3 options, all of a sudden it feels to them like, oh, first of all, don't worry, whew, relax, great. And I have these 3 different paths. I'm not stuck. Like, no one's the boss of me. I get to make these decisions. Empowerment is a tool that I think we underutilize in what we do. I'll say that one more time because I think it's an important statement. Empowerment is a tool that I think we underutilize in what we do. When you come from a place of empowering people to make decisions and encouraging them not to be stuck in the rut of, oh, I get to make no choice here. The market just is so crazy. I'm out. Nah, you just got to come in with your, you know what? I'm gonna get you all like a little lion tamer's outfit, complete with the little whip and the chair, to give to your seller clients, because they're in control. They get to tame the lion, but you have to help them. You have to help guide them to understanding that. Well, now we don't have to have those sessions from that book. We did half of it here. What else? Any other thoughts or ideas about helping people move forward to list their properties who are a little bit stuck? Have we talked about the potential for rentals? Be having that conversation as well, right? Be having that conversation as well. Not every single one of your clients has 3 kids in school right now where moving twice might be a massive inconvenience. And I think the question I would be asking some of those sellers who are resistant to more of a temporary rental scenario for the just in case, I would ask them, let's do this. Let's just take a look and see what you might be risking financially versus the potential inconvenience. Let's weigh those 2 things. Right? Is inconvenience worth an extra $75,000? How much is inconvenience is worth an extra $75,000? Or $10,000? Or $100,000? Right? I think those are the conversations that need to be had with people who are struggling with the possibility of going into a short-term rental. Right? Are you willing and able to play the market right now? Because if you are, putting your house on right now, even if that means a couple of months of inconvenience till you find something that you want, you may look backwards and say, wow, those 3 months in a short-term rental went by really quickly, but that $75,000 extra I got for my house looks pretty nice in my bank account, or looks pretty nice in the kitchen I was just able to do in the property I ended up buying, or the pool I put in the property. You know what I'm saying? So start to make it real for them, quantify it, and then help them make those numbers make sense. What else? Anything else? I'm just reading a text from Diane saying that she actually has a lion tamer's outfit. which of course she didn't put in the chat box. She sent to me personally because she didn't want me to actually say it out loud. but we're all friends here. She did go on to say, see, I was misleading. She did go on to say it was from Halloween. So so for some of you who went in a different direction, it was from Halloween. I love you, Diane. So let's keep cruising on. Any other thoughts about where you're finding listings? Does that help that conversation around how you're addressing some of your sellers who feel a little stuck? Did we give you some opportunities to perhaps address some of that? Okay, good. Anything else that we missed on where you're searching for listings? Any place that we missed? Old expireds, current expireds, Facebook ads. Nancy.
Reluctant landlords. I've picked up a few listings of landlords who don't live local and they're just tired of being landlords. So, kind of reaching out to them and making them aware of how great our market is has pushed them off the dime in, selling their properties. In a lot of cases, it's condominiums. So it's not like they were investors to begin with. They were often people who were just waiting for the market to turn and get back to what they paid for, for the unit. So that's worked out.
Nice. Yeah, I love that idea because one-off landlords, whether they meant to be investors or they ended up as accidental investors, right? So it sounds like some of Nancy's folks were accidental investors. They're out there too. If people were looking for some kind of crest to the hill, this is probably it. They probably shouldn't wait another 15 minutes to be having a conversation with you and getting that property on the market, right? Because the only way the market has started to come back down is in the rearview mirror. So take that, people who were buying Bitcoin and holding on to it because it seemed like Bitcoin was going to go up forever. Well, that changed, right, in the last week. Now Bitcoin, of course, pulled way back. Don't I sound impressive when I talk about Bitcoin? Here's what's fun. I don't really even know what it is, but I did read about it. So I figured I would throw it, and I know it went up and then it came down, but I have no idea what it really is. So the idea of the other side of investors, right, to give you a place to fish is I would run a report in the MLS, wherever it is you're looking to fish, of non-owner occupied properties, and reach out to those owners, because if they're one-off or two-off investors, the last 12 months has not been kind to those one-off or two-off investors, right? Most of you know that there's been a mortgage moratorium since we went into lockdown last March. In the state of Connecticut, that has not been released. The moratorium continues right now through February the 9th. I'm going to tell you, my guess is that between the federal government and the state government, that moratorium is going to be extended again. I do not believe they're going to release that. It's far too dangerous to start having a wave of evictions and having a ton, like a homeless problem, complicate everything else. So I don't think that's going away. And no one has brought to the table much help for landlords. So are you aware of this piece of the, so the point then is one-off or two-off landlords who haven't received rent in 6 to 12 months, many of them can't afford to own the property anymore, right? If they don't have larger portfolios to cushion some of the losses on a property or two, they may be stuck and looking to divest. Here's a small piece of information I want to make sure you know so that you're armed with current stuff to go and have a conversation with these folks. The new CARES Act, I don't even know what it's called, the new relief bill that was passed. I'm sure it has a name. I don't know what it's called. Is it the HEROES Act or I don't know, something. The second relief bill that was passed does have about $25 billion built into it for rental assistance. So if you're having conversations with landlords, know that part of what you can talk with them about is the opportunity, we don't know how this is going to be divvied up. It is going to go through the states. So it's $25 billion divided among 50 states in some way, shape, or form. And then the states have to figure out how to actually get it into the hands of people who need it. However, we do understand that landlords will have an opportunity to file on behalf of their delinquent clients. So for some potential recoup of back rents. So that's kind of good news. Be armed with that. No, you'd have to say to them, we're not sure exactly how it's all going to roll out. Because I can tell you, if you're talking to one-off or two-off landlords, they don't know this stuff. They're not tuned into some of the things that might be coming down the pike for them or against them. So you can be armed with February 9th as the date that currently the state of Connecticut says the mortgage moratorium will be released, though we don't expect it to be. And that there may be some help for them to recoup some back rent in this new relief bill. However, inside of those conversations, do you see a path forward to say, does it make the best sense for you, Ms. Manby, to maybe put the property on the market, knowing that there's such a shortage of inventory? Guys, the K-shaped recovery, you all know what the K-shaped recovery is, right? The K-shaped recovery says, okay, so some of you are shaking your head. The K-shaped recovery is that you've got two, can you see that? You've got a K, you've got like, think of a V and then turn it on its side, right? You've got a K. The piece, the curve that's going up are the people who are less affected by the financial crisis that this health crisis has brought upon us, which means more of the middle to upper class folks who typically have jobs that they can do from home, that haven't been affected by shutdowns, where people aren't being laid off. They're continuing to do better and better. Investors are part of that, right? Investors who are out there searching, they're buying right now. So for the potential one-off landlord who's looking to sell, it's a good time to be out there with shortage of inventory. The other side, the side that's going down, is the piece of the part of the population that's massively affected by the economic crisis as a result of the health crisis, which are the hourly workers, the part-time folks, the people who are in industries like travel, entertainment, retail, restaurants, all of that kind of stuff, because that's where all the trouble is. And so it's kind of a version, and don't hate me for saying it this way, because I don't really mean it this way, but it's kind of a version of the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer, right? And it's and your knowledge of that to bring to the table in part of a conversation with your potential sellers or your potential one-off landlord sellers, I think makes you sound and look really, really smart and helps them understand why things are happening. Remember, explaining why the market's doing what the market's doing is a massive part of your value proposition, because when you do, you'll be the only one who helps them understand why the market is doing what the market is doing, because you have a deeper understanding of it. I see that as a real tool. All right, shall we pivot to the marketing question that was put on the table? And so the marketing question that was put on the table was, what is it you're doing from a marketing perspective? Are you printing anything anymore? Are you still doing brochures? Are you doing postcards? Are you doing the print stuff? Or are you really focusing it more online, social media type stuff that doesn't require printing? We're curious about who's doing what and why, and what benefits it's showing to you, or what benefits by not spending the funds, if you're cutting stuff out, has brought to your business. Anyone have thoughts about that? How you're currently working your marketing world? Dawn.
I just did this postcard. I don't know if you guys can see it. And it just is this very simple touch. Curious about the value of your home. So just another touch to my database. some people I haven't been in touch with. Maybe they have equity. So we'll see. Next meeting, I'll let you know.
Got it. So you are still pushing things in the mail from a postcard perspective that you then follow up afterwards with? Is that how you're working that?
Yeah, it's a touch and then a call afterwards. And I've done it with us. I did it in the fall and had some good results. So I mean, it's very simple. I mean, the postcards like are, I don't know, 20 cents each. So
Yeah. Love it. Christine.
So I've been doing a lot of social media, surprise, surprise, but the statistics show that over the holidays that the statistics were through the roof, that people were reading more emails, they were spending much more time on Facebook, Instagram, on all levels of social media. So I did a lot more Facebook ads, and I'm doing Zoom buyer, seller, and buyer seminars.
Got it. There was a question in the chat. Let me just go back to it. Len asked Christine, how do you market the seller's Zoom, or how do you market? Can you talk about that, Christine?
Yep, and great question. So I put it on all the local calendars, on the Westport patch, the Weston patch. I put it on Eventbrite, and then use that link to put on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and then I also do a Facebook event and promote it that way as well. And then I do a Facebook ad to promote it.
Got it. And so, and this is and what exactly are you promoting? Can you describe the event itself?
So I'm doing not this Saturday, but the following Saturday, I'm doing a seller seminar. So I've got, a mortgage person who's on, a finance person who's on, an inspector who's on, and a stager who's going to be joining me. And I plan on doing these, every 2 weeks or so. I also am doing a buyer seminar, just a very basic one, which I did over the holidays, which had a great turnout as well.
Love it. That's awesome. And so my question for you, Christine, is do you record those?
I don't, and I don't for a reason, although people keep asking me. I want people to be there live. I don't want to just send them the recording. Oftentimes they won't even watch it. So what I say to them, if they missed it, I'm having another one in 2 weeks, or let's get on a phone call.
Yeah, I love that. And here's the reason I ask about that, because from a leverage perspective, one of the things that I remember hearing at MegaCamp were a couple of people who are seminar heavy in terms of part of their lead generation. And what this one guy said was, I woke up one morning and thought, okay, like I don't see my family at night because I'm always doing these seminars. And so he chose to do a seminar, record it, and then do it every 2 weeks, but have somebody else play the recording of the seminar so that you don't have to be on it. You have someone manning it and working the chat, someone who knows what they're doing, and then the leads just get funneled to you after the fact. So from a leverage perspective, I thought that was kind of cool, and so I throw that out to you. So maybe record this next one just so you have it in the can.
Yep.
And then we'll kind of brainstorm through how you can use that, because I love the idea of doing something once and then utilizing it multiple times.
Absolutely. That's a great idea.
Hey, speaking of seminars, can I ask this group of people a question? Would it be helpful? Is it time to do another investor seminar for 2021, knowing that it would need to be updated? Because I know that some of the content needs to be updated to make it as relevant as it needs to be today. If I were to promise updated content, does it make sense? Would you encourage your folks to come? Is it something that would be helpful to you?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm seeing a bunch of head nods. So good. All right, so we'll get that on the calendar and see what we can do about that, because I'm going to try the same thing. I'm going to try and write it in such a way that I can produce it, we can record it, and then you guys can even run me as an investor seminar with you monitoring the chat, so that you don't have to wait around for the next one that I do live. right? So the idea is to create something that can be used as a tool if you choose to use it as a tool. All right, we'll work on that. I love that. What else in terms of marketing? Anything else that you guys are doing? Was there more in the chat? Hold on. Yeah, so Christine's guests were lender, inspector, stager, and attorney, I think you said, Christine, right?
Yeah, they're different for them all, but basically, yes. I also have an organizer for one of them. Another idea that I'm doing is I've reached out to some people who are locally having events, Zoom and live, and I've asked if I can sponsor or be a sponsor for them and help promote, but also, you know, get my name on it and my logo on it. So that's been well received.
Perfect. Love it. Karen says she's doing more video emails, right? So that have those been working for you, Karen? Do you get better open rates and return rates on that?
I am getting more and more. Well, I just started doing it because, you know, quite frankly, I was just afraid of being on video. You know, you always want to make sure this is perfect and that's perfect. And I gave up on the perfect idea. So I've been doing video emails. I'm recording some of them to resend out to new people that I talk to, because basically it's the same conversation. So I don't have to keep recording. So it's been working out well. I like it.
I had somebody say to me about a year ago, as we were getting really hot and heavy into this Zoom thing, like, oh, you know, I don't like the way I sound. Is that really how I look? Right, that my bald spot when I'm using multiple cameras, you know, pops up. And somebody looked me straight in the Zoom eyeballs and said, I don't know what you're talking about. That's just the way you look and sound all the time. And I thought, huh, well, you know what? Maybe there's the answer, right? So we get all weirded out about it, but that's just what you look like. Like, for good, for bad, for in between. That's just you. So use what you got.
And it's a good way of connecting. You know, you really connect with the person that, you know, you're not going to see maybe today. At least I'm not seeing most of my clients. So it's a good way for us to connect because we're not seeing each other, even to hand off paperwork or at a closing.
Got it. Tammy.
Good. Hello, everybody. I know for me, I've always kind of dabbled in doing live videos, and I have really become uber focused on doing live videos. And like, I just picked up three, and they're pre-approved now, 3 new clients from it. And, you know, and I'm also creating this, I mentioned it today, doing this Facebook group, because now it can all be organized into topics, similar to what YouTube does with having playlists. So now when I have a client say to me, can we go over closing costs again? I can just send them the YouTube video, or I can invite them to my Facebook group. And then that way, and like, since this morning when I announced it to just you guys, I have 11 people that want to be part of the group. So I'm really, really uber focused on the social media aspect and just becoming a resource, because I'm sure Karen can attest to this. The crap in Google about mortgages is just flat out wrong in some cases. So I'm like on a mission to make sure people really understand what the process is about.
You know, there's a, I was having a meeting with Debbie yesterday morning, and one of the things we talked about was the idea that for a large portion of our society, people decide to agree or look at as truth the thing that they either hear the most often or the thing that's done or said the loudest. For good, for bad, or for ugly, right? I mean, that's the nature of humans. And so looking at that from a business perspective, right? That's what Tammy was just saying. What if you became the voice of real estate? of mortgage, of local real estate, of a neighborhood for real estate? What if you're the one that's helping people because you're the one they're listening to? Whether do you have a video for frequently asked questions for sellers? Do you have a video about staging? Do you have a video about frequently asked questions for buyers? Are you posting those? Are you cribbing them down to short videos so that you can pop them on Instagram or on Facebook, right? Because 10-minute videos don't work on those platforms. You need to skew that down to 60 to 90 seconds. Or are you doing teaser videos for those platforms with a link then that could bring them to a longer video if they wanted more information? I don't know how well that works, but I thought I could sound really social media.
You're the next social influencer, Rick.
Well, there you go. We're all in trouble if that's the case, right?
Or celebrity, as they call it now.
Yeah. So the idea of being that expert on video, if I were you, each of you, I would be, when things are said, just like the old adage of, well, if it's in the newspaper, it must be true, right? If it's online, it must be true. Still at dinner time, when my children come down and say to me things like, did you hear X, Y, and Z? I'm like, well, where did you read that? Oh, it was online. Oh, well, it was online, then it certainly must be true. And yet, what if we utilize human nature to our advantage, right? What if we utilized human nature from the perspective of, let us be the ones who are filling people's heads with the information that makes sense for them to have. And if we're taking it, if you can take it to community, and then you can burn it down to business, and you be the expert that they go to, because you're the one who's telling them the stuff that they need to hear. You're the one who's pushing the factual information on places where they look. I think that there's a winning path there, and I would be so interested in, maybe what we should do is have a simple mastermind, like a brainstorming session around exactly what that looks like, so that we can chart it out and start doing it. Go ahead, Deb.
So I hear a whole lot of social media and a whole lot of digital and a whole lot of online. Does anybody print anything anymore?
I do send handwritten cards still, handwrite them.
I do handwritten cards, and I just ordered 7 just sold postcards. Last year I got 3 calls from a just sold postcard, and the property had sold months before, and the people were just holding on to them when the time made sense for them. And so I keep doing 100 for each one. So I literally just ordered them on Vistaprint. Has anyone had success or ordering through Command? How is that? How is the quality on Command postcards?
I have not been happy with it yet. So stay tuned.
Okay. Vistaprint is 50% off.
Yeah, and to the marketing side of things, we, as you know, we are hard at work on delivering a marketing platform or two to you in the very near future, over and above what is offered to you through Command. So stay tuned. We're getting closer and closer to sealing that deal and being able to make that another announcement. So know that there's other opportunities that we have coming your way to utilize a marketing service that will create not just postcards and brochures and things for you, but also the electronics versions of those, as well as social media posts. For those of you who aren't great at creating your own social media posts, there's going to be an opportunity to have those created for you. So lots of different things that we're just pushing to finalize. Dee.
I'm going to switch from AM cards to a new card company that does gifts also, and will also put your logo and everything on things for you. That's amazing, and the cost is incredibly low. And I'm about to I'm working on that, and it's just an amazing company. and they specialize with real estate agents, and people are using them, and I'm blown away by the low cost.
Interesting.
So-
What's the name of that new company?
I think it's called Banner Season, but I'll get that information to you, Rick, and we can look at it together if you want. But I am just blown away by what they can do. So talk about like the brownie box thing. It's beyond that. I mean, you can do mugs and put things on it and send it directly to your clients. And if you know they like coffee, do something that's coffee, and do something else that is more particular to someone else, and specialized to the person.
Love it.
It's great for closing gifts. It's great for referrals. It's great for whatever it is. And the cost is like $50 a month.
Nice.
Yeah.
I actually have it. I can put my link in the chat.
Yeah.
I actually sent to my golf aficionados golf balls that
Yeah.
were personalized with their names saying, "I'm fighting from D. Bratton."
Yep.
And they loved it.
Yeah, exactly. It's that kind of thing. Yeah, Kimberly, exactly. Isn't that fantastic?
It is. I've been using it for about 4 months now.
Yep.
The really cool part, to Dee's point, the postage is low, and they turn it around. The mail comes from someplace in the Midwest, maybe Seattle or something like that. But anyway, I can put my link in. You guys can take a look at it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And my head immediately goes to, with that kind of a thing, what program do you have in place for like the raving fans in your database, right?
One more thing, you can put your clients in there and do a regular program. You can, so that you have touches. That's the other thing. So you don't have to like monitor it. You can put them in and have touches done for you, which is even more amazing.
Nice. Nice. And so what's the name of it? Just somebody say the name one more time.
Seasons.
They actually just changed
They're changing their name. That's why I hesitated. So Kimberly, go ahead.
It's Mailbox Power.
Mailbox Power. I have a video actually in my, I can send to people. I have a video that I'll look up the link and put it in. All right.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
One of the things that I use for gifts too, I use a company called Cheryl's Cookies, and they actually have cookies that you can send that are like $5, and then by the time you ship them, they're $10, and they've got babies. Oh, Debbie's nodding. So like babies, thank you, sympathy, congratulations, like every topic, birthday. And they're like $10 and they'll send them out to you. And I've done that for a couple of people for birthdays, and it's not expensive at all. And it's a really pretty package they put together.
They're the best butter cookies you ever
They
ate.
are. And that's the other thing I was going to say. They're actually really good. It's not like, they're not gross cookies. They're delicious.
And,
Nice.
and the cool part about them is the cookies can come individually packed. So if you are concerned with having a whole box of cookies there, they're individually sealed. The other thing that I'm working on doing for my VIP guys, it's Girl Scout cookie season. So I posted a, name your top 2 Girl Scout cookies brands. And so my VIPs will get 2 boxes of Girl Scout cookies. And it's great because I can write it off as a nonprofit. And support a local Girl Scout in my community.
Love that.
So that's my February pop by.
Awesome. Well, guys, we have ticked out of time, believe it or not. That was the fastest hour on the planet. I took a bunch of great notes, so thank you so much for sharing all those ideas. And I think what I'm coming away with is being more on purpose about helping our potential sellers see a path forward. And so you know what? Here's what you can do. You can use these cookie companies or these brownie box companies, send them some cookies, and then have the conversation, like butter them up with butter cookies, and then have the conversation. It's like the 1-2 punch. Don't worry. Here's cookies. Don't worry again. Here's brownies. Remember, flattery and cookies will get you everywhere in life. So use those tools. And the name of the cookie company was Cheryl's Cookies, I believe. Cheryl's Cookies. I'm not sure if it's an SH Cheryl or a CH Cheryl. It's a CH Cheryl. So Cheryl's Cookies with a CH. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for your time and your talents. Always appreciated. I look forward to, we may have a special Capper Mastermind just before family reunion or about family reunion, just so that each of you can kind of work with each other to say, I'm pursuing this. If someone else is pursuing this idea, you know, can we maybe meet in the middle and share notes and stuff like that, just to make it a more interactive experience when we're still all in our little Brady Bunch boxes. So watch for that towards the very end of January. And of course, we'll be back in February with our another monthly mastermind. We do have an all-agent business mastermind tomorrow if you want to plug into that, similar topics with a different group of people. And Rainmakers on the call, we do have you guys on Friday at 11 for just Rainmakers of teams for more team-specific topics. Always fun to spend time with you. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon. See you tomorrow morning, 9 a.m.